Hello everyone, welcome to the bonus episode. For this week we are doing a character profile of our dearly departed Aadi Alahan.
I thought you were going to say Aadi, and then I don't know what came after that. Aadi, the departed Aadi. Yeah, He's gone, hasn't he? Left us. But, you know, he has said in his interviews it's goodbye for now, or see you later. So I'm hoping that we'll see him again. But just in case not, we thought this would be a good week to go down and just look over the character of Aadi, who is, I'm going to say at the moment, the character who's been in the show the longest, but we've never profiled.
I was going to say, have we had a profile on him yet?
No, never. No, we didn't.
Maybe that's why he's left. He's gone off in a huff.
Maybe, I don't know. We did dash her a few years ago because she always got more of a story, it felt like, didn't she? Or they started giving Tanisha stories as Asha before they did Aadi, but I guess they were kind of waiting to recast because he's not had loads and loads of stories thrown at him in the past few years, but we've definitely seen an increase in Aadi action since he took over, since Adam took over in 2020.
I definitely think that a lot of people really like the character of Aadi as played by Adam Hussein, and
yes.
He has done absolute wonders with that character.
I
He's
agree.
So much fun to watch. I'm going to really miss him.
Me too. I think lots of people really love him as Adam. I'm going to say that...
As Adam?
Aadi as Adam, or Adam as
Aadi.
Whereas with Zenon as Aadi, I'm going to say people are a bit more ambivalent, because there wasn't, to be fair, there wasn't much of a character there, was there, until Adam Hussein took over. If you were to say to somebody, 6-7 years ago, tell me something about Aadi, if you're lucky, they go, golf? And that kind of that encapsulated Aadi's character for his first 15, 16, 17 years on screen. But it's not to be sniffed at. We've got a good, we're going to be running down his whole life, and there's a few other little bits and pieces that make up Aadi in the time, in his early years as well too. So I'm just going to have a run down that and discuss some favourite Aadi memories, kind of reminisce a little bit. But as always, we'll start our character profile with a quick rundown of his vital statistics. Thank you, Coropedia, as always, for this. So Aadi, actually, this isn't even simple to begin with, is it, as you'll remember from the Asha one. Aadi was born on the 13th of January 2006. Which is also canonically when he celebrated his first birthday, because the twins are some of the few Coronation Street characters who have had their year of birth retconned for plot convenience purposes. And it doesn't sit right with me at all that they do this. And I'm very much pleased that this is a rarity for Coronation Street. It feels like...
Once you do it once, though...
It feels like another soap operas as well, especially American ones. They do it a lot more. Because was it soap opera rapid age syndrome, I think they call it over there, where they just want to get a character to be a certain age, so they just don't care about when he was born. I was looking at some Desperate Housewives stuff the other week, and it reminded me of when they did the time jump in that, and the twins there. Porter and Preston, were they called? Like, everyone else jumped 5 years ahead, and these boys jumped about 10 years into the future, it seemed. But yeah, Aadi was born in the episode shown on the 13th of January 2006, but in canon now he was born in 2005. Don't ask too many questions.
It's your own fault if you don't understand.
Yeah, they did it with Peter Barlow a few times when he was growing up, didn't they? But I think now canonically Peter Barlow's date of birth is back to where we saw him being born on screen.
Well, it only really matters when you're
a massive nerd. Yes, I know, and I am.
No, let me finish. When you're young.
Peter, I think
when you're young, there are milestones that they might want to hit, that they,
Well, it seems like it's mostly to do with having them to be a certain age of another character. I think with Peter and Susan, they made them... I think it was for their 18th birthday they aged them up, just so they could be 18 earlier, because Peter wanted to join the Navy or something. And then they also had it with Mark Redman, Mike's son, who they wanted to be in the same school year as Nick Tilsley. So when he was
nobody could buy either of them being either more intelligent and put forward or kept back because they're thick.
So yeah, not very common, but it's happened. And it does make me wonder, like, one day, like they did with Peter, are they going to put the twins' birthdays back, or is that just going to make things far too complicated?
Just put them back where you found them.
A whole lot was made of Asha's age during the... not the skin lightening story, the Corey story, because it was about when she was ready to... Well, when she thought she was ready to go to bed with Corey, and was she 15, was she 16, and yeah, so I don't know, but if anyone ever wonders how old and what's the deal with that,
So they got retconned to be older
They got
by a year.
retconned to be older by a year. Let's not think about it too hard. Their parents are Dev and Sunita Alahan, and many siblings, thanks to Dev and his promiscuity. And so we've got, obviously, there's Asha, his twin, but apart from that, he's got a couple of older half-sisters who we know the names of. There's Shireen, who I think was the first one to come out of the woodwork, and then Amber, who was a character on the show for a little bit, 15, 20 odd years or so ago. And then apparently there were two other half-siblings that don't even have names. And we have seen one or two scenes of Dev lamenting the fact that he hasn't really got to know his other children. And
it's a shame because there really could be a conversation that happens between Bernie and Dev about estranged children.
I think there might have been. But he was like, oh yeah, it's so sad that I don't know my other children. Anyway, let's move on. But
not inviting them.
Now maybe Aadi's out of
wedding.
the way. He's going to be feeling like he needs to...
Well, I mean...
needs to remake... At least with Amber, come on.
There's an Alahan-shaped hole now in our hearts. Could one of
Yes.
these half-siblings come along?
This is an Alahan story waiting for to happen, because I'm a little bit concerned that the Alahans are really decreasing in numbers, and because we've got Asha and Dev, and I guess Bernie kind of counts now. Is she taken Aadi's place in the Alahan household? I guess so. But
make the family strong and big.
Yes, they should be. They should be a dynasty like the Barlows, I say. So
I say
do
so
love the
too.
Alahans. Right, so Aadi, as we said before, made his first appearance on Coronation Street on the 13th of January 2006. That's when he was born, and was last appeared just last week, as of recording, on the 26th of August 2025, after 566 episodes. And we said earlier that Asha often got a little bit more of the lion's share of the stories, and she actually, I think, currently is 70 episodes ahead of him. So yeah, we've had a fair bit of time with.
She's
no
going to
Aadi
run
at
away
all.
with it if he's not careful.
He's not going to be able to catch up now unless he comes around very, very quickly. So at birth, both the twins were kind of played by triplets, real life triplets. So Hannah Harris and Ria Ahmed played them in 2006, and I think you can't tell what's a boy and what's a girl at that kind of stage.
You can, because the girls have a bow.
Well, girls get a bow, boys have got
motorbike.
Anyway, so they played them for a little bit, a couple of weeks, until Sunita ditched Dev and disappeared off, and then we obviously had Zen and Ditchit, who played him in 2009 up to 2019 when he left, and since then, since 2020, we've had Adam Hussein in the role, and he's really, really made it his own, and I think a lot of people's affection, like you said, for Aadi is down to Adam's portrayal. So even like Zenon, when he took over the role, he was 7 at that time, when Aadi was 4, but then later 5. So they caught Aadi up to be closer to Zenon's age, but he was still always 2 years older than him. But I think Adam Hussein is about 5 years older than Aadi is. So it's like the most complicatedly aged kid on the street. It's crazy. But yeah, Zenon, I didn't even realise this, or I'd forgotten, that before coming onto Coronation Street, he worked as a child model with EKA and Euro Kids Modelling, which sadly closed down at COVID, unfortunately. But yeah, so we'll see a bit more about what Zenon's been up to recently, because that's all quite interesting. But let's have a look at the stories that the kids got in their early years. And there's going to be a heck of a lot, obviously, of crossover with Aadi and Dev's stories. So they were born in early 2005, 6, who bloody knows. But anyway, Sunita gives birth to Aadi first. Did you know that Aadi means first in Sanskrit?
No.
No, you didn't, because you're not fluent in Sanskrit, are you? Well, it does. So
no, I am. I've just started, though, on my Duolingo, and I haven't
So
done
in your
numbers.
first lesson, they didn't call it the
No,
Aadi
we
lesson?
did, like, apples and, like, horses.
That's pretty advanced for your first language.
No, it isn't. On Duolingo, that's how you start out.
Is it? Anyway, so Aadi means first. So he came first before Asha. There you go. So he's the older twin, just about. And Sunita, at this time, she'd had a bit of a falling out with Dev, because she'd found out about all the other little mini Devs that are running around Weatherfield, thanks to his wild oat sewing around his shop girls. So the pair had split up the previous years, and it was only after a lot of cajoling from Dev that she let him in for the birth. And then she still doesn't want to get back with him. She decides that she's going to bring Aadi and Asha up as a single mother.
Girl power.
Dev sneakily registers them himself, which was really odd.
That's awful.
He takes them to the register office and says, "Hey, I'm the dad.
Look at my babies."
I mean, I suppose if you're worried that you're not going to be put on the birth certificate, I'm sure it's Somebody in real life must have done this before. I bet lots of
know.
dads have done as well, have thought about it. But anyway, that's how he gets on the birth certificate. Sunita's fuming about this, obviously, but after a couple of days of struggling to cope with the babies alone, she agrees to let him help out. But eventually, she can't deal with him being there all the time.
Can you imagine him?
He's Devon her to death.
He wasn't Devi back.
He wasn't as Devi back then.
But can you imagine him like going, "Hey, Sunita, it's your turn to change the nappies. Oh, the poo-poo smell."
I think he was desperate to have any contact with them. If I was seeing Sunita here, I'd be like, "You're on all the nappy duties, Dev. Honestly,
yeah,
you're doing horrible
you can
bits.
see them when they're dirty. Not disgusting. All children are beautiful and gift.
Yes. Anyway, Sunita just leaves the street because she can't bear to be around Dev anymore, and lets him have just 2 hours contact off screen for the next 3 years that she's not in it. But
it's only when they need their nappies changed.
Yeah.
You imagine
2 hours a week of nappy change and all.
I imagine it's slightly
into one.
longer than that, but
so we didn't get to see any of Aadi or Asha for between 2006 and 2009, but that's when Sunita came back to the show, isn't it? Later
2009. Dev is golfing because he's a rich man, and he meets Matt Davis, who turns out to be Sunita's fiancé.
Yes.
And Dev is very jealous about this, and he does not like the idea that another man is raising his kids, which is weird because all the other children are being raised by all kinds of different people, some of whom he's only probably met once.
Yeah.
So Sunita gets fed up with this, him meddling, and she's thinking about restricting his access
to the twins.
To the twins, yeah.
She's already restricted access to him, to her twins. Many years ago.
He then asks his girlfriend Bernie, no
Who?
relation,
What?
to move in with him to make it look like he's in a stable relationship, but she's like, no, see you later.
You were looking at these notes earlier that I put together, weren't you? And you said, is this right? Did he go out with somebody called Bernie in 2009? Like, yes, he did. I think I've closed down the window that said what her surname is. Yeah, I have. But yeah, there were 2 Bernies that Dev's gone out with. There just must be something about the name. And maybe
he's a busy man.
Yeah, well, yeah, he
can't remember names.
Well, this is why he's gone out with 2 Ginas, isn't
Yeah.
it? I wonder if there's been any other Coronation Street character that's been out with...
Multiple
But
women of the same
multiple
name.
exes have got the same name. So we had Gina Gregory, he went out with, the barmaid, and then obviously Gina Seddon.
Which I totally did not remember.
Yeah.
And I ruined the quiz.
You did. A few weeks ago, never mind. But yeah, and 2 Bernies.
I would love there to be a running joke that some character just goes out with only people named something, the same name, and then there is a character in the show that they're destined to go out with the same name, and they just keep going through all these different people until they get to the original.
So I think we need to look out for Dev having a future girlfriend called Maya. Should there be one?
No.
Not that I'm,
What about Bernie?
I know, not touch wood. I do hope
Bernie.
that Bev and Bernie stay together because I'm quite
that crazy couple.
Yeah, so 2010 comes around and Sunita says, right, fine, Dev, you can have a couple,
so they're
little bit more time
5.
with Aadi and Asha. They are now 5 later.
When do they get retconned?
No, they're not at this point.
Yeah, when do they get retconned?
About 5 years' time.
Okay.
So at this point they're 4, but later 5. We just can't say about it. Okay. Yeah, that's right. So anyway, she says to him, look, you can have a bit more time with Aadi and Asha, and he proves his worth to her by organising this
racist
mega birthday party with Jesse the cowboy, Jesse the future Gale marrier, and he does this cowboy show for them, and it's brilliant because I think there was going to be another act and they pulled out, and then Dev pulls this together at the last minute. So Sunita is sufficiently pleased and lets him have a bit more access to the twins, and by the end of January, Sunita and Matt have split up. I can't remember what the reason for that was, and she gets back together with Dev in March. It's nice because I do think that Sunita and Dev were they're a proper, solid, destined for each other couple, aren't they?
Yeah, but she's dead.
She's dead now. He wasn't always the best for her, but I think he did care for her.
I think Bernie's much better to sticking up for herself than Sunita.
Yeah, Sunita did sometimes need somebody to look after her, but
she was
a strong, independent woman as well. But yeah, she I think original Sunita would never have dumped him because I think she came in to the show and
she was very sweet.
Yeah, she was a little bit more sweet and innocent. She got a bit more of a backbone as the years went along. But I don't think there was many people that were complaining when those two got back together again, and it meant that we got to see the twins again. Stories in the early years then. So for Aadi, when they move into Dev's flat, Aadi and Asha and Sunita and Dev, Aadi manages to lock himself out on the balcony and he has to be rescued by Graham Proctor.
What an idiot.
So what an idiot that Aadi, already proving himself to be the less intellectually inclined twin, shall we say.
He didn't study the door.
Exactly.
Mechanisms.
He's clever in other ways, isn't he?
Is he?
Yes.
What ways are they, then?
There's also a bit more Aadi drama over the summer. I think, Aadi gets the lion's share of the stories in this return because he gets into a fight with Simon, little mini Simon Barlow, and gets his head banged on a table, falls unconscious a couple of days later and gets diagnosed with a fractured skull and a blood clot pressing on his brain. So poor kid, he was he'd been brained within months of coming back onto the show. And the main drama there is that Claire Peacock, who was supposed to have been babysitting Simon and Aadi and Asha at the time, left Sophie and Sian, secret lesbians, in charge. And then when she came back, she caught them kissing and said, right, I'm not going to say anything about this, as long as you don't say anything about what's happened with the banged head. So it was all a bit of a massive cover-up of the fact that Sophie and Sian were having secret snogging sessions when Sunita should have been babysitting the twins. But anyway, it all starts to come out. Sian and Sophie do a runner, and anyway, that's what goes on with Aadi. Gets out of hospital and then gets taken into care because there's suspicions of child abuse. But then when Simon fesses up to have been the one that had caused the bump on Aadi's head and not Claire or Sophie or Sian or anyone else, then the twins can go back to the Alahan. So what drama for 2010 there was.
Not even allowed to do that anymore.
What?
Not even allowed to abuse other children because they get separated like Joni, Shoni and Moni.
Yes, that's true, yeah.
2011, Dev takes Aadi to the golf course, little knowing that this would create Coronation Street history. The best child star at golf in the whole show.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because Dev had like an on and off relationship with golf over his early years in the show. And
I don't think he did. I just think that they didn't bother talking about it.
Yeah, but I did quite like it that Aadi had something to him, even if it was like, as viewers, we were like, really? Is he that good at golf? Is it a little bit like, Lily Platt? She's an excellent footballer, really. We just don't ever see her doing it. And to be fair to Aadi, we did see a couple of scenes of him like putting a ball into a mug in the lounge floor.
How else are you supposed to do it?
And he gets the trophies, doesn't he?
He does.
But are you upset that the golfing side of him has dropped off a cliff since his return?
I think it's quite normal that children do excel in sport that they don't progress with once they become an adolescent.
Especially if it's a parent that pushes them towards a sport.
Yeah.
Which I think it was the case with Dev here, because he's like, hey, I've got a child prodigy, he's this excellent golfer, everybody look at him. But he still has his golfing trophies up on the mantelpiece in number 7, doesn't he?
I do think it's sweet when a parent's boasting up about their kid.
Yeah.
As long as they're not being too obnoxious. And Dev was always quite, Sunita worries that he's going to start favouring Aadi over Asha because Asha's just a boring girl and she doesn't play golf at all.
Not interested in golf at all,
no. At Christmas, he again triumphs as he gets cast in the lead role of Joseph at the school nativity. Everyone else is jealous.
Yeah, totally. It's I think it's quite interesting that at that early stage, Sunita is worried that Aadi is becoming the favourite twin in Dev's eyes, and it like completely flips in later years, doesn't it? And Aadi feels like he's being neglected. So
yes.
was Dev's later
does he overcorrect?
Fixation? Yeah, was it an overcorrection kind of thing, or does he just focus on the kid that needs it at the time?
I don't know.
I think
it's difficult.
I think Asha was just growing up and she didn't need much.
This is why
extra help or whatever, or
don't have to
praise.
worry about it.
Yeah. So 2012, Amber moves in, the older sister, and one episode has her throwing this party, and Dev comes home to find the twins cowering on the stairs because in this return for Amber, she's a bit of a bad girl, isn't she? And she really gets up Sunita's nose, I remember. So that all goes on, not much happens there. Then he goes on a holiday to Mallorca, a golfing holiday with Deb and Asha. Then he goes to a golf tournament.
Who does?
Aadi.
Oh,
then he goes to a golf tournament in Scotland. Like, they really made a thing of him. Like, he is a proper pro golfer. He's just lost that skill completely now. But it was all good for Sunita because this is when she was having an affair with Carl Monroe. So all this time...
How unsupportive of her.
I know. All this time that Dev was away, It's a bit like Abby, wasn't it? You know, what we're seeing with Abby at the moment. Kevin has got the kids away on holiday somewhere and she's using it as time for a bunk up with Carl. Sunita was doing the same with another Carl. If your name's Carl on this show and you're having an affair with somebody, just get them to take send their other half on holiday and you're in there, it looks like.
This, to me, makes me think, if you're a parent, really, really carefully pick what sport it is you're going to make your kid do, because golf is far too long. Do something really quick, like fencing.
Well, what's wrong with
takes
choosing
all
a
bloody
long
day,
sport?
doesn't it?
Yeah, but
you have to stand around all
the
day.
more time for having a secret affair.
Not for Dev. Dev's had
Not
to
for Dev.
watch boring... And Ash as well. Boring golf, imagine.
I know, poor kid. Do you remember recently when we had that Auntie Rani come to visit and Asher was like, I don't like her because she threw my 3DS in the river?
Oh, he's got a bad form with that, hasn't he?
No. No, Asher said that. Yeah.
Oh.
But also in 2012, Aadi had a problem with his DS because Simon nixed it. So both these poor twins had their Nintendo handheld consoles cruelly taken away from them.
So, you say you're a Nintendo guy and... I'm
a Nintendo guy.
Yeah, you are. And I'm not really tied to any console, but I will tell you that you can't steal your PS5 from my hands.
No.
You have to burgle me.
That's true. So, anyway.
Unless I'm carrying it somewhere because it's broken, in which case you can have it.
Aadi later upgraded his DS to...
I actually don't have a PS5. I don't know why I said that.
Don't.
I was manifesting.
You wish. Aadi later upgraded his DS to a non-specific gaming console, didn't he? Which we'll come
it's
more
a special
to,
weather
more
field
to that later, yeah. We also had in 2012, both the twins, they found this envelope with £7,000 inside, which Carl had left there. I can't remember what it was all about. But Dev, after the twins present this to him, becomes convinced that Sunita's having an affair, and then it all comes out. That's the end of Sunita and Dev. The twins aren't particularly keen on Carl. I don't blame them. He was a rubbish character. But that's the end. So broken home once again for poor Aadi and Asher. But this isn't about her.
No, it's not about you, Asher. Sit down.
We've done you already.
2013. He tries to flex his
acting
dramatic muscles, but he fails because he's got a part in the school play, and he forgets one line, his only line.
Yeah.
Then his mum dies, which is about as bad.
And he had a really rubbish year in 2013, didn't he? First he forgets a line in the school play, then his mum gets a pillow over the face after being in a fire, and then she gets accused of having been the one that started the fire.
It's hard, isn't it?
Yeah, he's having a tough year as Aadi in 2013.
But luckily, Mary comes to be a nanny to the twins for Dev, and they soon take to her. And then they also they struggle when everyone's talking about Sunita being the arsonist, and Aadi even gets into a fight.
This was a really nice little relationship they set up with Mary, because I think she's back to it again now, but for a while she was really floundering. It's like, what do we do with Mary? Stick her with Norris, have these funny little scenes here and there, have a drive around in the camper van, but what story can you give her, and what kind of links and can you have her make in the street other than just hanging around? And we saw a really different, lovely, maternal, caring, nurturing side with Mary during this, didn't we? She'd been just kind of crazy up until this point, but this was right up her street. Yeah. And it was lovely that in Aadi's leaving scenes recently that we got to have a bit more of a callback to that by her showing up. So. And
it's nice also that Coronation Street over the years has still shown lots of unconventional routes to, parenthood or taking care of children if you don't have kids. Lots of women on the show don't have children, and I think it's very interesting.
Yeah, you don't too many though, do you, as a viewer? I wonder whether...
I think it's good because it shows that you can still, Carla was probably the most famous childless woman on the show, and now she's got a stepdaughter.
It makes me wonder whether it would be worth Coronation Street trying to revisit Mary's nannying, because yet again we're stuck in a position with Mary currently where she's not really doing anything, is she?
She shouldn't nanny Betsy.
Well, she could marry Dorin or Alfie, or there's a few that I think
she could do it.
Yeah, give us something to do.
Also, I was just going to say, if I was one of Carla's ex-stepchildren, I'd be quite annoyed at how close she is to Betsy, because don't think she was ever this nice to any of her.
I don't think she was. She wanted Simon, was she, honestly?
Not really.
So 2014 was a real low year for Aadi. He was only in 3 episodes and didn't really do anything in any of those. I guess he must have been doing stuff at schools then. And then 2015, this is when the retcon kind of was officially recognised, because the twins celebrated their 10th birthday in was it January, I think I said that year. And then, now they're the same age as Amy. Again, doesn't do much for much of the year, which is not an unusual thing to say for child characters in Coronation Street. The only other thing of worth that I've written down after that for 2015 is that he plays Joseph yet again in the school nativity play. He did it so well the first time. Give it to him again, and don't let forgetting your one and only line in the school play in the meantime.
Do you think
put
his
him off casting him?
Only line was, "I'm sorry, there's no room at the inn." Oh.
Yeah, I don't. That's true. Actually, I don't know how much Joseph does have to say line wise.
Oh.
I guess it's who's the daddy, and anyone who's been in a soap is great at saying that.
Yeah, that's not my kid.
Yeah,
Mary.
Exactly. Move on.
2016, we get Erica, who was, the played by the wonderful
Squeeze,
Claire King.
Yeah,
and she again childless. These women have got nothing
one,
better to do
she had a miscarriage
than
with
to
Nick.
look after other people's kids, but she's not very good at it. And
no, she was not at all.
Mary hands a notice in. So Erica has to step up, and they're like, no, you're no good. They make things difficult. They drive a wedge between her and Dev. It must work, because she's not in it anymore.
No.
Aadi steals a scratch card in the corner shop and wins £300 on it. Nice. And then she gets Bethany to say it's hers.
He does.
He does get Bethany to say it's hers, and they split the money between them and Asha.
See, now this is enterprising, isn't it? Aadi's no good at acting.
This is the sort of
business.
This is the sort of business stuff that got him in £6,000 worth of debt
by just taking a risk.
Where he's like, I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm just going to steal something.
Just going to scratch a card and hope for the best. Yeah, just keep going until I get that £6,000 one.
That was it.
That was it. Again in 2017, another very quiet year for Aadi. He and Asha end up soaking Erica with water bombs after they find out that she's had a fling with Kevin, and that does indeed put cold water over that relationship.
She ends up going off with Nick before she leaves, doesn't she?
Yes, she does. I don't remember whenabouts in Erica's timeline that happened. I think that happened before the
I really liked Erica.
I was not so keen, I don't think.
2018, along with some of the other kids, Aadi gets, I remember this, hooked on an online football game. This was so weird.
This was a sort of C-D tier story that Corrie just doesn't do these days, does it?
And it's like, this is an issue
sometimes
story
I think,
about gambling.
I wish they'd just do like little silly nothing storylines like that reflect real life. And it kind of does, because this was kind of a warning against freemium games kind of story, wasn't it?
I don't remember what the moral of... I think it got murky at the end, though, didn't it?
It did get murky at the end. It started off as a watch what your kids are doing on their phone, make sure you don't give them your credit card details and check their spending. But
it goes wonky.
Yeah. Do you wanna?
So Aadi's hooked on this. He steals money from Dev's account for these micro transactions. And then when Dev finds out, he makes him work in the shop to pay him back. But then Dev gets involved in this game. He gets too competitive when Max beats Aadi, and then he's like, "I'm gonna buy you another player," and he gets into it as well. And then Max still wins anyway.
I think David got quite into it.
I do remember this being a bit of a craze. It ended up being
with the dad saying, "You can't play this game. You can't spend the money." And then the dad's like, "Oh, this is quite addictive, actually."
Yeah, silly.
I'm not sure what the lesson there was particularly.
Throw your phone in the river.
Yeah.
Tracy mistakenly thinks that Amy's got a crush on Aadi and sets up a little meal with them and their parents at the bistro. Aadi doesn't turn up, and Amy is mortified because she says she would not be seen dead with Aadi.
Yeah, so this, I think, was the beginnings of the rumblings of something between Amy and Aadi, and it kind of went...
So like 7 years.
Yeah. And then she didn't fancy him. I can't remember what it was that made Tracy think that she did. I think she was talking about somebody else or whatever. But yeah, Amy there saying, "I would never go out with Aadi," and feelings later develop.
Maybe Amy was like, "Oh, there's a pro golfer that lives around here who's well fit," and Tracy's like, "There's only one person who's a pro golfer. That is Aadi Alahan."
Yeah, indeed. So, 2019. This is when Amy was pregnant.
Oh no!
I kind of forget that happened because
I know
it just wasn't a great direction for the character, was it? And it was this story that started off at the beginning of the year, and then it felt like it was going to be the big story of the year, but it kind of blew out into nothing within months, didn't it? Because she ends up getting rid of the baby. But
why'd you say it like that?
I didn't know what to say, you know what I mean. But anyway, Steve thinks that Aadi is the father at first because of what was going on between them the previous Christmas, and then he chases him down the road with a spade. I remember that. Bloody Steve. But anyway, he's not the dad. Here's a quiz. Who was the dad? He was a wrong one.
Carl.
No. It was Tyler Jeffrey. Do you remember? The wrong later recipient of the Weatherfield Golden Heart Award, son of Irish Vicky.
Don't trust any boy whose name is a profession.
Tyler.
Yep. Or Mason.
Oh, I thought somebody who does tiles. I thought you were thinking of Taylor. Anyway.
Yeah, Taylor as well. No Taylors, no Tylers, no Masons.
Aadi was, compared to some of his peers, a little bit slow on the romance front, wasn't he? Because you had people like Amy, for example, and Asher finding boyfriends a little bit before he did.
I think this is a bit of a symptom of Corrie treating women more like the main characters than men. I know that's...
Maybe. And Simon never had a girlfriend, did he? Bless him.
I didn't even have any friends.
No, he didn't.
I've got roommates. Sure you do. Sure you do, love. Why am I paying $1.5 grand for your rent then?
Anyway... Aadi, later that year, 2019, is half responsible for Peter's boat catching on fire. Because although it was Roy who knocked over the lamp that set the boat ablaze, it was Aadi who put the lamp there underneath. So I'm sure he's got no remorse over that.
No.
Then we hear in mid-2019 that the Alahans are going to be going off to India for a few months. And Aadi thinks this is great because it means they're going to get summer holidays off early. And brilliant stuff. I don't think Asher was quite as pleased. So they disappear off, and then it's months later that they come back, and even when they do, Aadi isn't there. So Dev and Asher return without him so they can have the skin lightening storyline, and then he turns up for a little bit. He finds out that Asher is in the middle of a big old storyline of her own, and she's kicked him out of their shared bedroom. I really like what they did with the bedroom. Do you remember because they had those scenes in Asher's bedroom when she was there with the posters and the models and everything, and half of the bedroom was decorated girly and half of it was boy. There was a
line.
An actressy, pinky pop starry side, and then there was Aadi's side that was kind of blue and space rockets and things
Skulls.
like that. Yeah, exactly. But anyway, Aadi's kind of partly involved in that, but not particularly. And that's the last that we got to see of Aadi with his old face, because in late 2019 it was announced that Zenon Ditchett had left the role. He wanted to concentrate on his A-levels because who knows how old he is at this point.
Does work out for him.
Yeah, he does. He went on. He's on social media.
What A-levels did he do?
Probably business and stuff.
Business.
Because he's on Instagram, but he's got a private account, so you can't really see much there. But you can find his LinkedIn page. And since
this isn't
leaving,
creepy at all.
I didn't do it.
He is a grown man. He's a grown man.
I didn't do it.
How did you find this?
The tabloids have recently done some reports on what's Zenon Ditchett up to now. And yeah, he worked for JD Sports in a commercial financy kind of role for a little bit. And now he's a management accountant. He's probably raking it in. REFY Beauty. And he's on his way to becoming a chartered accountant. So this is
Give
brilliant.
me his favourite
good
quote.
for him. Yeah, according to his LinkedIn, and this sounds like the sort of thing that Aadi would say actually, I thrive at the intersection of data and decision making, turning numbers into insight and insights into action. Bet he likes a spreadsheet, does Zenon Ditchett?
Oh, I bet he does.
I think this is
for him.
great because I didn't mind Zenon in the role, but he didn't inspire like, we got the next big star of Coronation Street here. He was fine.
Well, I'm glad he's gone on to success.
Yeah, he was. They never really gave him any stories that would require huge emotions or big really stretch his acting talents, and he's just decided to totally ditch the acting
and turn numbers into insight.
So good for him. There are a few pictures online of what he looks like now as well. But
I turn numbers into total confusion.
Yeah, exactly. Well, maybe we can get him to do some work for us. So Adam's casting in Coronation Street,
generally need a lot of
Adam
number
Hussein,
work.
was announced on the 7th of April 2020. And he first appeared just the following week on April the 15th. And Adam had had a couple of big roles before joining Corrie.
How do they manage? Is it because of COVID that they could just say, "Is this guy starting next week?" And nobody...
No. They often it's not completely rare to say.
I don't think they could do that. I don't think they would do that now.
I don't know. I think sometimes they do. Well, we'll see what happens.
Well, no, because this is a big role. They do that for hey, next week this sexy lady is gonna turn some heads on the street. They do that, but they don't generally go, "We've recast a major character and he's coming next week."
But the thing with Aadi, he had such sporadic appearances, didn't he? He went months without appearing. He wasn't prepare yourselves, everybody. You're sitting down for this, but as a character that's going to look different. It's you've not seen him for 5 months. It's going to be somebody new.
What did they do about Lily then? I can't remember.
Oh, just recently. Yeah. I don't think they even said.
No, they didn't do that.
She just turned up at the bus stop.
Shut up! She's always looked like this.
Yeah, it was pretty much a hand waving
And like you said about Harry.
Yeah, Harry. We know that Carter J has left the role as Harry Platt. I think the rumour is that the new kid is called Josh something, but it's not been...
Josh Hartnett.
Who knows? It's not been officially announced. I've got a feeling he's just going to show up on screen at some point. So anyway...
All right, you're right.
Adam had been in The Bay, Fertile Crescent, and Ansentia? I don't know. He'd been in some I think they were detective-y, crimey kind of things.
He did it.
But yeah, I've not seen him in any of this, but he had some credits behind him, which is good, because sometimes they will still get relatively unknowns, won't they, to jump in and hope for the best. But he had already proven his worth to the acting world before he was cast. He can, yeah. He said at the time, "I'm excited to play the role of Aadi, putting my own twist on him as the character becomes involved in an important new storyline." There wasn't much to twist to begin with, was there, particularly? My new twist is he doesn't play golf. I was already good friends with Tanisha Gori before coming to the street, which helps hugely with portraying the bond of brother and sister. Everyone at Coronation Street has been so welcoming, bringing me into their family and treating me as one of their own. And that was really helpful that he did know Tanisha beforehand, because we've said before that we really, really buy them.
The chemistry between the two of them, that vibe is very much a bit like David and Maria and David and Sarah.
Yeah,
that kind of bickery, but love in there as well.
Yeah, I think the first pictures that we got of Aadi as Adam as Aadi were him. I can picture him in these the puffy ITV jackets, because they were filming the scene where he beats up some people in Victoria Gardens who'd called Asher a slag, and for the the sexting story that she was in. And I kind of picture him there. And
but he didn't get much,
No, it kind of all went wrong. So I don't know whether you remember this, ladies and gentlemen, but something else happened in the spring of 2020 that put a dampener on the entertainment industry and even the world, some might say. COVID hit, and he'd filmed a few bits before lockdown, but then he had to disappear off for a few months before he could film anything else and get back to work. So it was a bit of a bumpy start.
It must be really hard.
Oh yeah, totally.
You just want to get into it.
But I guess you thank your lucky stars that you've got the job before, because if you leave it, if a couple of months had passed, they were like, we can't cast anyone now. Although only Charlotte Jordan was cast during COVID, wasn't she? But
this is when what they called self-taping. This is when that all came in.
Yes, it did, didn't it? I don't know whether we had a self-tape.
I know about the business.
I was having
show.
I was having a bit of a read about some of his other interviews and about how he got into acting, and apparently he joined his drama club at school because he fancied a girl. And
it's a classic tale.
That was the only reading, and then as he started coming back to chase this girl, he actually quite enjoyed it. And he said it was the only thing I enjoyed at high school. I used to truant all the time, but drama would be one of my only lessons I would show up for because I loved it so much.
That's just suspicious, Adam.
Why?
Because if you're like saying I'm sick, I can't do maths, but you turn up for drama the same day.
The teachers don't talk to each other. It's
No.
fine. Well, his drama teacher said, "Look, you've got to do drama GCSE. You're pretty good at this." And then he gave him a leaflet.
I've got, at this point of his life story, me and Adam Hussein have exactly the same qualifications.
I know, this is sliding doors, this, isn't it?
Because like, they do say, quite a lot of the people who are in Corrie have some kind of qualification. Does that mean I'm actually qualified?
Because you got a GCSE drama.
Yeah.
What did you get?
B.
Oh, that's not bad. I wonder what he got. Double A for Aadi.
A star.
Anyway, yeah, his teacher gave him also a leaflet for the young company at the Royal Exchange Theatre, which he auditioned for and got it. So that's where your lives diverge, Gemma, I'm afraid.
I wasn't really. I only did drama at school.
Did you fancy a boy in it, Gemma?
It was even worse than that. It was because it was that or art.
Yeah.
And art, the exam was all day and drama was 10 minutes. So I said, I'm going to do that, please.
You slacker.
I know. It's because I did, what did I do? 12, I did 12 subjects.
Well,
that is a lot of subjects for a stupid little Gemma, who actually is probably little Gemma is much more intelligent than I am. It's only gone from my brain.
Your brain cells over
the years. Yeah.
Anyway, he did the Royal Exchange. Then he joined a training program called ALT or ALTA, I don't know, and that helped young actors break into the industry. Got himself an agent, and this is when he ended up being in The Bay. He was in 2 series of that. It's this crime drama, like I said. Oh, and then we had The Absentia. Oh, it was an American crime thriller, apparently. And
no, you didn't say crime. You just added that word.
All thrillers are crimes, aren't they? You know. And then he was on a programme called The Secret Life of Boys on CBBC. So he had, quite a range of stuff under his belt before he came into Corrie. But yeah, 2020 is when he first appeared on the street as Adam, and then he started getting his storylines, didn't he? Do you wanna remind us about 2020?
Yeah. So New Aadi's first episode was at the party where Corey's video of Asher undressing gets spread by Kelly Nealon.
Yes.
Let's not forget.
Oh.
Aadi was drunk. He gets drunk and he's really mad about Asher.
I remember
when he finds out what's happened.
Because it's like,
this is really hard
this is nothing like the old Aadi. Yeah. He was sneaking booze at the party, wasn't he? It's like Aadi wouldn't do that. Although it does go to show that he can't control himself at parties. Doesn't it?
He makes a state of himself.
He makes a state of himself at parties at his own home.
I mean, also, think about Lily. She had a bit of a baptism of fire, didn't she? Nearly being murdered in a school.
This is true. This is why they have to recast sometimes. Like, we've got some dramatic scenes.
Do you want to be murdered in a school?
We need somebody new to play them.
Well, get out then.
Yeah, so I remember thinking, I wonder what the new Aadi's going to be like, because, as I say, it was fairly personality-free, the old one. And this
he was just unbothered, wasn't he? He was just there.
Yeah.
He was like a cloud floating through life.
He wasn't the Aadi. I suppose it takes a little while to grow into the role and decide what they want to do with him. But everybody loves Aadi now because he's a bit of a doofus and he's a try-hard, lovable idiot kind of guy. But he's not thick. He's not a Kirk or anything.
He is just lacking in life experience and trying to learn as he goes.
Yeah, and he's got a bit of, false bravado going on there, thinking, I can do this.
A lot of people, it's everyone's story, isn't it, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Everyone has had a moment in their life where they look back on it and go, oh my God.
Yeah, but here he was more like, I really am one of the cool kids because I'm going to get drunk at a party.
Yeah, and then I'm going to beat up some lads from school.
Yeah.
The next day he beats up some kids who are making suggestive remarks.
About Asher.
But then he calls her a slag himself, so it's not feminism, is it?
No.
Then he gets in a fight with Corey at school.
Corey Brent.
Yeah, he's one of the many long line of horrible teenage boys that we've been.
But this one wasn't reformed, was he?
I know, but it's 50-50.
I know, but they did make a documentary about him.
They did
last year.
That's right. I remember that.
It was off-screen.
I really enjoyed that documentary because it showed me that anybody can be redeemed as a character.
Yeah, be a talented prison footballer.
I would really like to watch that documentary.
I just loved how they had a kind of Corey comeback, and then his dad Stefan was in a fair number of episodes, and Corey not at all.
No,
just heard about him.
Yeah,
because I don't know what Max Evans is doing these days, but clearly too much to be able to come back to Coronation
Street. Too busy.
Yeah.
Dev tells the twins that he's moving them to Oak Hill, and Aadi is not happy about this, and he is also not happy because in order to help Dev pay for this, he has to do work at the kebab shop.
Well, it's paying
for
this.
Yeah, it's that, and also
Dev's broke because he has to pay for Asher's video, the stripping video, to be taken off the internet.
And I'm assuming that he doesn't have to do that now because the VPNs are...
Oh, yes.
Like, this new law bans it. Nobody's allowed to watch anything.
Nobody has any idea about how to circumvent that, do they?
No.
Yeah, that was an odd story, and they revisited it with Abby last year, didn't they? With the deep fake story, that how much it costs to keep a video off the internet. And I can't remember how they ended up with Kevin with that, but with Dev's one, he was like, no, I am going to pay all this amount to keep this video off the internet. Like, he must have a bottomless pit of money, this guy.
I would say to Asher, quit the paramedic stuff, do OnlyFans, save me some money.
Or just buy her a mask and say, right, you're wearing that for the rest of your life, love.
Yeah. Get her a face job.
Yeah.
Just do it, just completely...
Recast her.
Recast her. Okay. I don't know who that is.
Asher, there's only one way out of this. You see your brother, he changed his face. Sorry, you have to do the same.
Daughter. I don't remember that. Okay, so we'll have to write in and suggest that.
I think it's too late now.
Okay. As the year goes on, Aadi starts to feel more and more like Dev is neglecting him in favour of his sister because she needs a lot of support. But also...
She's going through some tough times.
She is, because she's dating horrible Corey.
Yes.
And Aadi doesn't like this. And Ash is like, oh, you're jealous because you've never had a girlfriend. And then he gets mad and tells Dev that Asher and Corey are obviously doing it. But Asher says they're not.
Yeah, so as I was saying earlier, Aadi...
And this was the skin lightning thing happened the year before this.
Yeah, so...
Yeah.
Asher, they saw something in Tanisha Gorey because she's one of the few child characters that has stayed the course, hasn't she?
Let's not... Yeah, I mean, she clearly wanted to do it and they wanted her to do it. And that's not always the case. And we don't really know why everyone gets recast.
They always say, want to concentrate on their studies, but you think, is that really what it is?
Otherwise you have to end up like Emma Watson going to university when you're 40.
Yeah. But, you had Alex Bain, he stayed on, didn't he? Because he started when he was, 5 or so?
Yeah.
And then he stayed through, and little Sam Aston did as well. And then Tanisha, but so many, it's just like a rite of passage that you're going to get recast.
Yeah.
Like Aadi did. But they I guess, tested her out with the skin lightening storyline. It's like, you're bloody brilliant, girl, we'll keep you. I still feel that Aadi never got a story as big or emotional as that. And he had a few stories under his belt as Adam Hussein, but they didn't always fit. He was never like the splash screen on ITVX kind of story, was he?
No, I guess not, but I do think that the Courtney love affair was Corey's big summer story for whatever year that was. I've forgotten.
Yeah, a couple of years ago. I 2 years ago, maybe? Yeah, maybe. But yeah, this was Aadi being told, by his sister, I'm much more mature than you, and she was making fun of him like no girl would ever be interested in you.
But he got drunk at a party.
I know, but it kind of makes me think, he's had a decent number of girlfriends since then, hasn't he? I think we're gonna run through them now. He's got 3-4 girlfriends since then, and I wonder how much of it was a reaction to Asher downplaying his perfectly normal and acceptable not having a girlfriend by the time you're, how old are they here? 16, 17?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. Because like I said, he's got this kind of false bravado about him, and he wanted to be the big man. So to have Asher say, you can't even get a girlfriend, probably did sting, didn't it?
Yes.
Yes, it did probably jab it, that's what you say. Right, so 2021.
I've never been accused by my twin sister of not having enough girlfriends, so I
can't relate.
It hard to put myself in those
shoes.
It
all kicks off for him in the old romance department in 2021. This is kind of his first foray into romance. And but before that, there was that brilliant scene. Do you remember this at the beginning of 21 where he's doing Evelyn's performance management review?
I loved it.
I watched that again the other day. I just want to find this. It was so good. And this is where I think the genesis of Aadi's wanting to be good at business but actually being a bit of a plonker.
Yeah.
But he's not an idiot. He's
not experienced.
Adam is so good
at...
I can't even explain it.
Just like being guileless and like thrown in the deep end. Because honestly, his enthusiasm really should have been harnessed better by Dev. Dev just seems to have gone, oh, you be the manager.
Yeah.
What do you mean? What do you mean? I'll be the manager.
But he wants to do his best, and he's like he's doing Evelyn's performance review, and he's like, I'm just observing you, and he's asking her all these questions, like, you know, where do you see yourself in 5 years' time? And Evelyn gives some cutting remark, like
being a lawyer.
Yeah, hopefully away from here, or what can we help you more with, or you can help me by buggering off and letting me get on with your work. He's brilliant, and he doesn't fire back at her. He's just, you know, steadfastly carrying on because he knows these are the questions to ask, and he wants to be a businessman, and he says, you know, this is how you do it. Anyway, if you haven't seen that scene, just look for Google Evelyn Aadi performance review or something. It's a classic. 2021 was also the year that Seb got kicked to death by Corey. So you know, Aadi was right when he saw that he was a young one.
Kelly was there.
Definitely not by Kelly. Definitely not. No. Asher starts defending him though. After it happens, and Aadi's like, what are you doing? It was clearly him, and she says, look, I'm just trying to do it to entrap him. I know that he's a wrong un, really. Then you add this. I think he kind of moved away a little bit from the Corey storyline there, and got himself involved in Simon's story. This was the what was it, County Lines stuff that Simon got involved in with Harvey Gaskell in spring 21. And when Nick and Leanne and Simon get up to their necks in that, they go on hiding. Do you remember they had their little flat away somewhere? Nick and Leanne and Simon, and they go on the run, and they're hiding from Auntie Sharon, who's returned from the depth of the Corrie history books. And so Sharon, avid Sharon, ends up seducing Dev, which was brilliant. I don't think it takes much to seduce Dev, does it? Like he's very convinced of his own brilliance. Yeah, so it's not difficult. You want to get in my pants. Yeah. So she seduces him so that she can get into the house, pretend to be Aadi, go on this games console, and then talk to Simon online. Again, they did their best, the choreographic designers, didn't they, when they showed his console there. Do you remember? And they had all the games, the fake games on the screen. That was great. Yeah. That was great. Less said about that, the better. Anyway, as I was saying, the romance stuff kicked off in 2021. And I kind of forgotten that this happened. He went out with Summer for a good, 6 months or so. I don't remember this. I know. And she was his first girlfriend. Well, at first she's not interested in him in that way, so Asher has to give him lessons on how to ask a girl out, because, you know, she's very wise in all things romantic by this point, and it works. He manages to convince Summer to go out with him, although yet again it did inadvertently make Steve think that Amy and Aadi are sleeping together, which caused a bit of an argument. But anyway, he's going out with Summer, but tying into what we said earlier about Aadi thinking that Dev wasn't really interested in him compared to Asher, he starts to think, well, Dev's not even interested in the fact that I got myself a girlfriend. So Dev tries to course correct that and organises a meal for the couple with him and Billy as well. And again, brilliant scene. This. Yeah. Brilliant
How do I remember this, but not the fact that they were going out?
I know. That's exactly the same with me. And I watched this the other day, and they're just... This is where I think our newfound love of Dev, or newish found love of Dev, has come along. Him being the ultimate cringe, embarrassing dad. Cringe dad. And no more so than in this scene, where he and Billy have got totally sozzled, and I think possibly slightly out of character for Billy, but never mind. And they're starting to ask them about whether they've had sex yet, and Dev's like, hey, it's one of the greatest loves and pleasures in life, having sex, and usually we're all uptight and very British about this, and he maximum devage in that scene. It was absolutely brilliant, and Aadi and Summer just want the ground to swallow them, and they kind of scuttle out. But great stuff.
And then Summer joins a cult.
And what?
Summer joins a cult then. See?
Did she?
Well, didn't she eventually? She ends up nearly having a baby for Christians. All because of trauma.
That was later. That was later on.
It was later. I don't know, chronologically.
So yeah, no, you're right. You're right. I forgot what I was going to say there.
Sorry.
Anyway, that was another. I think at the beginning, when they brought Adam's Aadi into the show, he wasn't going to be a particularly comedic character. They kind of, you wouldn't think to, would you? You wouldn't say, well, we want to make the character of Aadi, who's fairly deadpan up to this point, be more comedic. And I think it was scenes like this that really showcased Adam Hussein's knack for comedic reactions. It was like, I'm totally embarrassed.
Yeah,
he's
it's
very
not-
good at doing.
Yeah.
I've embarrassed myself. You've embarrassed me. Just like the wide-eyed, like sort of thing. It's great stuff. Anyway. More drama for Aadi at the end of the year. This is the Coronation Street stuff. While there's a massive sinkhole opening up in the Platt's back garden, the Alahans think they've escaped all this by going out on a camping trip in the country somewhere. Little do they know that just at that exact moment, Harvey Gaskell is causing a prison van crash so that he can escape, stand there in the rain, and he crashes his car into the Alahan's car. What are the chances of that? Aadi gets trapped in the wreckage.
Both Aadi and Asher.
They're both trapped in the wreckage.
Help
but
us,
Dev
Dad.
chooses to save his daughter first. Luckily, Aadi manages to escape himself before the car explodes, but this leaves him very bitter with Dev about feeling abandoned, and he, for the best part of a year been thinking, well, he clearly cares more about my sister than me, and this was the ultimate example of it for him. Dev tries to compensate by making him assistant manager, but Aadi was like, no, you're
mad.
dead to me now, I'm dead. And this is like an unexplored story thread for Aadi that never really materialised.
I'm so mad about this because even though I'd rather have had comedy Aadi, I still was so excited about this direction that we're taking it in, where Aadi was secretly
sabotage?
he was working against Dev, or he got the impression this was what he's going to do. Dev had no idea how much Aadi hated him.
No, he didn't.
And really, he was just like, Aadi was totally justified to be a bit upset about this, because I don't really recall Dev giving a great explanation for why he picked one over the other. I don't know how you would do this if you had two kids.
I don't remember that one was unconscious and Aadi wasn't. I don't know.
Well, yeah,
this is why you don't have twins. You can't always treat him equally.
This is why you don't have children.
Yeah.
Just have a tortoise.
Yeah. Well,
and don't let it go upside down.
Stick it under your arm and run if you're in a car crash.
Well, yeah, don't take it in the car.
I think it is funny that Aadi was so favoured by Dev as a young boy, and now it's turned into the total opposite.
Well, yeah,
he got all his parenting privileges when he was young, and
part of all of his exit storyline was inadequacy.
Yeah,
and it was all driven by Dev, really.
Yeah, for sure. So Dev's he makes him assistant manager, and Aadi's like, no, it's not good. I'm going to move to London. I'm going to start again. And Dev says, no, stay. Be the general manager of my 3 shops. This shop, the kebab shop, and then the fish and chip shop. And Aadi says, fine. And they had this lovely heart-to-heart in the end, and he talks about how he's feeling. But then he gets drunk and scratches Dev's new car. Do you remember? And lets Kelly Nealon be blamed for it, and that's what caused Summer to dump Aadi, because he'd let Kelly be blamed for it. So that was the end of that. So it's sort of not doing great for the pair of them by the end of the year. But on the plus side, romance does blossom between him and Kelly at the end of that year, because she's going through a bit of a rough time. I think Dad was dead at this point, and he persuades Dev to let her move into number 7. You said that it was a shame that they didn't go down the route of Aadi trying to sabotage the shop. But I think, looking back on it, weighing it up now, any time where Dev and his kids were not, the closest family unit on the street was a bit of a sad time for the Alahans. And I think if they'd taken a year, 2 years, or even, the permanent move to make Aadi his dad's enemy, business rival, or whatever you want to call it, we wouldn't have got the lovely, hey honey sort of stuff that you get from Dev, and we're not going to get any more now. So I think ultimately it was the right decision not to go. It was right. Have the resentful Aadi,
but it's just sad that they set up this super big story, and then they just went, no, not doing that now.
It felt like it makes you wonder, why did they make it look like they were going to go one way and then they just decided not to? But I think I'm glad that they did.
Yeah, probably.
So what happens with Aadi and Kelly in 2022? His second girlfriend.
Wow.
He's got a type, hasn't he? He likes the young blonde girls,
he doesn't
he?
Well,
or old blonde girls. He's not fussy.
No, he Oh, bless him. So Aadi tries to help Summer out with her A-levels by giving her some homemade revision cards. And this is when she's going through her times of collapsing.
Yeah, every 5 minutes.
And she takes them into exam to cheat. Then she drops them, and Aadi is the one who gets blamed because they're his handwriting, so he covers for her.
Yes.
Then Kelly and Aadi grow closer because she's trying to help him how to learn to drive. And then they find out that there's this competition for couples to go to win a prize of a holiday to Mexico. So they're like, oh, let's pretend to be engaged and enter, because Coronation Street hasn't done that story for about 7 years, and so they had to do
like
it.
Mary and Norris, wasn't it? At the same
to
thing.
pretend to be married.
Yeah, but they did such a good job with those two. That was another. I know that they started. He started sniffing around her a little bit the previous winter, but it felt like their romance blossomed very quickly over the course of the late summer, early autumn of 2022, and they were really, really believable.
They were quite sweet
as a sweet young puppy love sort of couple, weren't they? Because Kelly had come in as a bit of a hard nut, and she was very she's very defensive, and she was tough. She was a bit of a mean girl in a way. She'd obviously been responsible for spreading of Asher's video that she'd made of her dressing for Corey.
Well, she was also a posh girl.
Yeah, you're right, she was. But they, as they are wont to do in Coronation Street, had already started the process of getting those creases and wrinkles out of her character and redeeming her. Because we had Imran and Toya were foster parents for Kelly for a little bit as well.
Yeah, Gary and Maria as well.
And Millie Gibson was brilliant in the role. And this was just another example of her being a very likeable character.
Yeah.
And putting her together with Aadi. It's like, oh yeah, it is ridiculous that they're pretending to be engaged and then later they actually become engaged within the course of a month or so. But you really kind of rooted for them as characters that were kind of a bit unloved, I suppose, a little bit outcasts in a way.
Yeah.
And
it is funny though that the Coronation Street for the past 7, 6, 5, I don't know how many years, has just been cycling through. Here's a naughty boy teen, he's gonna get redeemed. Here's a blonde young girl who's rough around the edges. She actually is just a product of terrible circumstances and she's really great. Here's an unlikely young couple with something tragic is going to happen to one of them. They keep doing their same stories over and over again.
Stories you can have, isn't it?
There are.
Adam was interviewed about this at the time, and he also described them as outcasts and said, they've been through lots of hardships and troubles, and they relate to each other through that. And I think they really do care about each other because they proper fall each other for real, don't they?
Fall for each other.
Fall for each other for real.
Well, but then Kelly overhears Aadi. This is kind of a little bit like what happened with Aadi overhearing Amy. Here's him say that this contest is just a bit of fun. She storms off in his new car and crashes it into a bollard. Then he catches up with her, says that he loves her and proposes for real. And she accepts.
It was like really, really sweet.
We got to see because they decked out the outside of the
bistro.
We got to see all the flowers, didn't we?
Oh yeah, when we did our set visit.
When we were there.
No, that was for our 10th anniversary of the podcast.
Okay.
So to keep it quiet.
That was very exciting to see that.
And then we're going to go to the Green to get married.
Get elope, but Gary and Maria, who at this point are fostering Kelly, find out and tell them that they can't, Aadi, you need to tell your dad. And so when he does, Deb's not happy about it.
I know. Then, understandable, I suppose. Then
Kelly finds out that Gary had killed her dad. So she arranges for the goons to kill Gary during their engagement party. But then she gets the hitman to call it off.
What can you say?
Gets kidnapped herself. And then they take her to the volume wall.
The rooftop building.
Oh, sorry. And she gets held at gunpoint. And Aadi arrives just in time to, very slowly throw himself in front of the bullet, which has clearly been borrowed from the set of The Matrix, because it was going very slowly.
Aadi took a bullet for a girl. That shows just what a gentleman he is. Yeah.
Aadi's recovering in hospital. Kelly disappears into the night. And Gary has to lie to Aadi and say Kelly that never really loved you. And this was when
tragic.
This was when so she's gone forever.
Yeah, he convinces her to go because what had she done? I don't even remember.
Well, she arranged for hitmen to kill Gary.
I thought she'd done something else, but
she'd done all kinds of naughty things about Gary.
This was Gary having. It was a really nice scene, wasn't it, with Gary and Kelly and her talking to him about the fact that he killed her dad, and this was him kind of paying for it in some way, but he's got away with it, really.
Of course he has. I remember her with a duffel bag going, bye.
Yeah, off she goes. And poor Aadi has to be told that she never loved him whatsoever.
Scarred.
So, heartbreak for him.
Well, is this what causes him to end up with Courtney?
Maybe. I would have liked, and I don't know what Gibbo is up to at the moment, but it would have been nice if she'd have come back for his exit.
Yeah, I know.
I think she's probably a little bit too expensive for the ITV budgets at the moment.
Wow. Now
that she's done her Doctor Who in. But that would have been a really lovely happy ending. No, would it actually? Because it was always the way that it's been left with him gone now is that it could be with him and Amy. Maybe one of these days that will develop into something. And I think if he'd gone off with Kelly, it wouldn't have been quite so beautiful.
I know.
She'd have been left a little bit resenting him, and I think she's now supportive of him and just keeping the bed warm, I suppose.
Okay. There's another close call with Dev and Aadi when Aadi thinks his dad is concentrating on his new relationship with Bernie instead of him, but Bernie intervenes and brings the family back together.
Yeah,
she's so nice.
Yes. There was a bit where I can't remember what this, because as part of Kelly's exit storyline, she'd bought herself and Aadi one-way tickets to Bangkok, and Adam was interviewed about this because they were trying to run away from the goons, and Adam said, I think he was asked, would Aadi give up his life in Weatherfield to move to Bangkok with Kelly, and he was like, I think ultimately Aadi would, because he's not having a good time at home on the street. He's been in car crashes, sat on fire, he's been dumped. Now he's found someone who understands him. So that's kind of interesting what Aadi was saying 3 years ago. Adam was saying 3 years ago about, Aadi would drop everything in Weatherfield to go and live abroad if he's really had a rotten time here, because that's what ultimately ends up happening to him. He doesn't go with a girl, but I suppose you might say...
go the other side of the world.
Yeah, because we were saying, it's not in his character to disappear over to India at a drop of a hat, but according to Adam in the 2022 interview, he would. So yeah to that. I thought you were going to say something.
Just imagine an Aadi googling Bangkok going, I hear that they eat red Thai curry there. You know what I mean? Just coming out with some really feeble fact that everyone knows that somehow he's missed.
Yes, that did stick recently, didn't it? 2023, this was the Courtney storyline when he's courting Courtney. And this was his oddest storyline. This was
mucky.
This was like, what are you going for here, Coronation Street? Is this the sexy summer sizzler storyline? Or is this Aadi's being taken advantage of a woman quite a bit older than him, but you're still selling it as saucy and sizzling?
It wasn't. It was gross.
Yeah. Because it kind of... It starts off with... before Courtney turns up on the scene, you got Amy, her story with Aaron, the rape storyline, and Aadi's on Amy's side during this. And there was this brilliant scene. Do you remember when it was Nina's 21st birthday party and Aadi gets Aaron drunk so that he can then write guilty on his forehead in pen the next day? And that was like a yes, Aadi, you go. Because Aaron had been, he's a complete slimeball at this. He was in total denial about the fact that he'd raped Amy, and Aadi there showing support for the girl that I kind of want him to get together with. It was just brilliant. I loved this. And there's a publicity shot of the two of them side on, and Aaron's towering over Aadi, kind of shouting at him, and Aadi's there standing his ground. I love this little facet of his character.
Aadi is
for him.
Actually quite good at standing up for himself, because he did the same thing with who's the new Mason? Brody.
Yes, he did, didn't he?
And I also like this he's got this dark streak where he, he was manipulative here to Aaron.
Yeah.
And this was kind of a very cruel thing to do, but he, you know, Aaron obviously deserved it, but it was still like quite a ballsy thing and quite a mean thing to do. I'm fully on board with it. I'm just saying that over the years, Aadi's had this kind of like bubbling, brewing darkness in him. Like when he was horrible to Asha and when he was saying, you know, it's your fault that you got in trouble with this, you're a slag. And also, you know, all the weird insulty stuff. And he's an interesting character. He's not just completely just a business boy who's out of his depth.
No, you know, for somebody who didn't have loads of character appearances, they did a really good job over the 5 years of giving him some level really of depth painting. And layers.
Yeah.
And I think that's another reason why people are disappointed that he's going.
Yeah.
Because they did a really good job of developing him as a fully fleshed out kind of character.
I don't know if they would have gone down this route with him because I really value him more as a comedy character. But there is a little bit of a Gary about him where Gary is also very prepared to do wrong things to bad people to get revenge for the goodies who are too nice.
Yeah, he's a vigilante, isn't he? I'm kind of glad that they didn't.
Yeah. I like Gary. I like it when Gary does that, but I don't want to lose out on a. Well, we've lost Dardy now anyway, so it doesn't make any difference.
Yeah. So the Courtney storyline. So Aadi is getting bored by kind of springtime of working in the corner shop, and he wants more. So he gets a job as the right hand man of local businessman Darren Vance. And Dev thinks this is brilliant because he wants to make a business deal with Darren about
Vance Refrigeration.
No, not Vance Refrigeration. I knew you'd say that. Darren Vance wants to buy a Freshco's outlet or something or other, and Dev's like, I want to get in on that. Aadi, you're in the perfect position to butter up this guy and make him agree to go into business with me. So at the beginning, things are all looking pretty rosy there. But really, all that Aadi ends up doing working for Darren is being a bit of an errand boy for him, mostly running his wife Courtney around places. Now, Courtney was...
Learn to drive, Courtney, you lazy cow.
30-ish, early 30s.
So old.
Very kind of preened and, you know, tightly pulled back hair and heavily made up. She was a business wag, wasn't she? But she was also... They tried to make her into being a very well educated and also had a real head for business to her. Do you remember?
Well, she was like, I'm a caged bird, really, because I was trapped in this ridiculous existence like a prized chihuahua because I used to be a business lady and now I've been tricked into having Botox.
Yeah, quite. Well, she because she is so
like Karen Brady.
Because she is so intelligent, but basically just living the life of a wag. She gets bored, and so she starts flirting with Aadi.
Crochet.
And it's not long before they start going to bed together.
Just do crochet.
And so this is the story. Aadi has got this much older girlfriend, and it always just felt very predatory, but they didn't quite lean into it.
It wasn't the age gap so much as the fact that she knew that he couldn't say no, and she basically insinuated several times that if he didn't go along with it, he was going to be in with a world of trouble. Yeah,
and there was no, as far as I remember, romance to it, because we'd seen Aadi like falling head over heels for Kelly and Summer before that, and there was this lingering, because before Courtney comes along, there's almost looks like there's maybe going to be something with Amy, but then Courtney comes along and his head is turned by her. There was none of that. It was just her, preying on him and getting him up them stairs to bed, or on the sofa if she couldn't make it.
It did feel a bit like, and I'm not accusing anyone of anything, but those those gross stories about female teachers who end up being with young boys, and then there's always people that go, "Whoa, I wish my teacher had done that," and you're like, "No, this is horrible. This is gross. Stop. And I think this fantasy is so weird."
And this also, it was, in a way, it was a good fit for Aadi, because he always wanted to be seen as being more grown up.
Yeah, that's why it was sad.
Asha had made fun of him for not having a girlfriend earlier. He wanted to, be this big, next big thing in business in Weatherfield, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna. This is how you go up the ladder in business." And it just really felt like he was being taken advantage of. And
he was.
I think, the
Amy
story,
finds out.
Yeah, the story doesn't last too long, basically. So Amy finds out and is totally appalled by it, and she tells Courtney as much, but Courtney doesn't care, so I'm going to keep on bonking Aadi in secret. But eventually, Darren, the husband, starts to suspect that Courtney is seeing someone else, and Aadi confesses it is him. They have this meal arranged with Aadi and Courtney and Dev and Darren and.
This is for the Freshco deal.
Yeah, the Freshco. Darren suspects that his Dev is the one that's having the affair with his wife and accuses him as such in the middle of the bistro. And Aadi defends his dad by saying, no, it was me.
'Tis
I've been seeing your wife. Because he believes in this story that she's probably been spinning to him, but he's been embellishing in his head that she's the neglected wife, that he's gonna whisk her away from this life of being unappreciated by her rich husband.
Yeah, all this nonsense about her, like, oh, I really used to be a business lady. Well, you still could be. You're just being lazy.
So he thinks, well, I am doing the honourable thing here by saying, well, Courtney loves me, but you can see just how much Aadi didn't mean to her, because Darren gives Dev $5,000 to pass on to Courtney on the condition that she leave Aadi, and she goes along with it. So she doesn't go along with that. She stays with Aadi by saying, "Wow, look, Dev's just given us £5,000 that we can spend on a new flat." But then it doesn't take long.
Yeah, because they run off together.
They run off to the precinct, don't they? But then Aadi finds out that Courtney's been bribed. You remember he threw that snow globe through the kebab shop window that turned out to be the one that they got from Alton Towers, I think, when they were younger. So it was obviously him. But yeah, it eventually, after not very long at all, Courtney just gets bored with Aadi, goes back to Darren, and he's just heartbroken.
Yeah,
by what was inevitably going to be coming as a viewer.
Don't go out with fast women.
No, exactly.
She wasn't fast at all, though, because she couldn't even drive herself anywhere.
So the only other thing really of note for Aadi in that year, in 2023, was when he rescues Amy from, potentially getting herself in a whole world of trouble, because he had that really great episode where Amy spikes a guy in a club who she sees trying to spike another girl, and what she do, gag him, get him into the car. She's going to dump him on the waste ground somewhere, and then she calls up Aadi to help her, and he's like, you can't do this, and he helps her see the right thing to do is maybe take this chap to the hospital.
No, boo.
And then Aadi tries to kiss Amy in the aftermath of all of this, and she's like, no, we just need to stay friends. And that's sad, because there's just been this really long-term will they, won't they of Amy and Aadi.
I know, you've been really enthralled by this.
I've been so enthralled by it, but it's always felt like the Corrie writers never really wanted to properly commit to it.
No.
And they'd have like these 2-week stints every 6-8 months or so where you think, oh, maybe Aadi and Amy are going to get together. No, we're just not going to show them again for months after that. And
do you think they're the new Ross and Rachel?
I think they are. But that was obviously, he set his sights on this supposedly prize woman of Courtney, and I think the lesson to this clearly was maybe true love is just next door, or a couple of doors up, I suppose. I don't think he's going to be grabbing Gemma. Maybe he's going to get himself a lovely girlfriend in India.
Maybe.
I don't know. But yeah, I love this. They had it for a little bit, but I just felt that they were teasing me with this relationship. With the Courtney stuff, it just came across as being icky, doesn't it? Adam at the time said, I think seeing Aadi change from a schoolboy to a young adult has been fun. Playing him as he matures and begins to earn his stripes has been a pleasure, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he gets up to next as a young, ambitious man. Aadi's ambitious demeanour has changed a lot. Innocent demeanour, has changed a lot now, especially with this storyline. He started off as this young, innocent, awkward boy who would fail at flirting with girls, but it's been enjoyable watching him mature and change into this young man. And I just don't think he did mature. I think that Aadi thought that he was maturing, but underneath he was still an innocent, awkward boy.
Yeah.
And I think he's left as an awkward boy.
Maybe he'll come back a man.
I don't know.
I like him as he is, and I thought that I don't know what Corey was thinking with that storyline, but we don't have to worry about it anymore because we've done it now.
Yes.
Right.
What happened last year? Not much, Aadi, last year.
Nope. 2024, Amy doesn't go to the twins' birthday party after hearing Aadi telling Bobby he was interested in her, that Amy is off the market.
Yeah. And yeah, he was. Bobby would fancy anyone, wouldn't he? But Aadi's like, no, you can't take Amy. She's taken.
She's already spoken for.
Yes. And she wasn't at all, but that showed that Aadi was still has a bit of a candle.
There's a lot of going on here, because he gets down in the dumps after Amy yells at him about this. Then Aadi finds comfort in Nina, who'd also been having a falling out with Asher, because she accused Asher. Well, that she was jealous of Asher and Isla at work.
Yes.
We never seen Isla again.
No. So
obviously, if I was Sienna, I'd be mad about this. Like, what's wrong with me?
So Aadi and Nina had both had, been spurned, hadn't they? So what else to do than have a little kiss?
A little kiss in Seb's memorial garden, and then she's like, I didn't like that.
Yeah, that's a bit awkward, isn't it? So Nina has kissed both Alahan twins now. It didn't go any further than a kiss with Aadi, because they realised that maybe this isn't the right thing to do, but yeah.
Well, Asher's fuming when she finds out. She storms round to Aadi's flat because he's moved out.
Yeah, he's in a precinct though.
To return the bracelet he got her for her birthday. Chucks it on top of him because it looks like he's asleep
on the sofa.
But actually, he is he's dying.
He's having an issues-based storyline about carbon monoxide poisoning.
He's being poisoned. But luckily, Amy and Gav, remember him?
Yeah.
Find him, and he gets taken to hospital.
They foreshadowed this a few months before, didn't they? Because I think Courtney threw the carbon monoxide detector at him when they were having an argument in the flat.
She was horrible.
She was, yeah. We all have our carbon monoxide monitors checked since then, don't we?
We would never not have one.
No.
Right, so Aadi accuses Asher of leaving him to die. But then he realises that she didn't actually do that, and gets her to carry on doing her paramedic.
I was very much on Asher's side at this, because she's mad at him. She just kind of pops her head around the door, sees him passed out on the sofa. You're not immediately going to think, he's got carbon monoxide
your young
poisoning.
Adult brother is not dead on the sofa. No. That's not your first.
You think he's just going to be drunk or asleep or something. So I don't blame her.
Well, they say when you hear what's the sound of hooves, you think of horses, not zebras.
I've never heard that expression in my life.
Well, it's like saying don't assume something obscure and weird when it could be something obvious.
Yeah, although, if you're in a state,
it's a coronation.
It's probably going to be something obscure
and
weird.
It is zebra.
Yeah.
And it's coming for you. Aadi encourages Amy with her idea for being a radio DJ, because she is such a good listener and therefore would make a great host.
Amy's just got so many jobs, hasn't she? I think she still is a DJ.
What does
and working
do?
at the flower shop and working at the bistro and still studying at university.
What's she studying?
I don't remember.
Is she going to be a account manager at JD Sports?
Well, maybe she is.
I think,
what is Amy going to do? They're like delaying giving Amy a proper career, aren't they?
Do a masters.
And fair play. There's very few Corrie characters that actually go to university.
I think that this generation is the first one, just because they really like giving them stories, and it's difficult to give them stories when they've got all these adult responsibilities. Yeah. And they're all kind of like in a bit of a delayed development as far as the general trajectory of a Coronation Street character, which is get pregnant at like 20 and then married and go straight into being a mum or a dad. So I like what they're doing with them.
Well, you got Asher is doing a paramedic training, haven't you?
Yeah.
So it is good to see Asher and Amy and Summer have all gone down an academic route.
I think this is more realistic too. I'm not saying it's not I'm just saying in the world of Corrie this is unusual, but in real life all these characters would still be doing.
But what is Amy going to do in the end? She's going to end up,
work at
managing the flower shop or something, isn't she? Or working at the factory. I can't see her. I don't know. I can't see her working as an executive outside the street, but who knows?
I want somebody to start a bloody new business and actually do it.
Take over the cabin.
Do a business though. Like Michael tried to. He had a business and they just got absorbed by Carla and spat back out again.
I don't know what Amy's speciality is at the moment.
DJ.
I'd be more interested in her doing something related to her DJing.
I'd like her to be
rather than her bistro side or the florist side, because that's just kind of normal, isn't it? We're not supposed to be talking about.
I know, but I just want to say, I would really like her to become some kind of content creator in a positive way, because we had the story with Daisy where it's like, content creators are all doomed.
They get stalked.
To share too much of their personal lives, and they're all wrong and horrible and vacuous and vain. But really, Amy could be some kind of feminist blogger, or, you know, have a podcast about women's problems. Yeah, which we all love, don't we?
Yeah, and obviously you can make a career out of podcasting. We just haven't figured out how.
We just don't know. So Amy could give us some tips.
Amy could give us some tips, yeah. We'll just be jealous to see her leapfrog.
Or we'd be like, oh, this is so unrealistic. What do you mean she's getting paid to do this? How does that work?
I mean, you're right about her doing it for feminist issues, because that's what she seems to be going kind of down that route as a... I am.
She could be like
standing out and speaking for women. And when she has Aadi on her show, a radio show, he talks about being an ally to women. It's a really, really great scene. I don't know. Let's get back to.
So
Aadi.
He's like, yeah, I'll be your first guest, and I'm an ally to women. Okay, that's the minimum. You don't get a reward.
He should have played that to Kelly to try and defend himself.
Yeah,
on the radio.
So they become closer, and then Aadi finds out that Amy has been told by Leanne to invest Deirdre's money in the Institute for a resource centre. And he's like, don't do that. I'm a business boy. Let me show you the spreadsheets. But she does it anyway. And then also Aadi encourages Dev to make this proposal to Bernie later in the year with the balloon animals.
To a proposal. I don't think he doesn't say to Dev, propose to Bernie with balloon animals.
Do a big gesture. Do a big romance.
Yeah.
And he goes, propose with balloon animals, I heard you say.
Really, Aadi's contributions in 2024 are fairly minimal. And it makes me wonder whether that precipitated Adam's decision to leave the show.
Well, sometimes also, if they know that you're going to get a big year, they give you, you're building you up for next year, so you don't...
That does sometimes happen, but I still
don't know how conscious
my overall impression is Aadi never really got the breakout story, did he? Well, we've talked about the things that he has done as a character, but I always felt like he just got just a bit too shortchanged, and they were setting him up with these girls, and then it didn't work. So he never really was able to establish a base or a family he just was kind of plodding along a little bit.
I can definitely agree with you that I think we wanted more Adam Hussein.
Yeah, for sure. 2025, yet again, Amy and Aadi earlier this year come close to becoming an item, but just about when Amy's going to tell Aadi how much he means to her, Tracy walks into the room and interrupts them, so that pours cold water over that. The main story for Aadi this year, and he's had a decent number of episodes, 60, 70 or odd episodes already this year. He gets put in charge of the shop when Dev has to go to India, and he thinks this is brilliant, getting finally a bit of responsibility. I kind of lose track of sometimes he's in charge of the shop and sometimes he's not.
But he was in charge.
But now he's solo running the shop because Dev's over looking after Auntie Geeta. He doesn't do so well, does he? He gets himself in 6,000 grand of debt, and some of it's, he on an honest mistake when he gets his orders wrong, and some of it is just it's hard running a business. But he's always in his head thought that this is what I'm destined for, and I think that Dev's parenting style has been you're going to follow in the family business, and he's grown up believing that if my dad's a businessman, so will I be. I'm going to be the best damn entrepreneur there is, and I think this was a real wake up call for him this year that maybe he's just not cut out for it necessarily.
I do feel like there's a bit of a missed opportunity for a story here that I think is going. We're experiencing as a whole in this country, that I've heard people say about. I obviously have no experience of this, but
you're not children. A business lady, are you?
No, it's children of immigrants who have come to this country and done things like open shops or open takeaways, and the next generation of children, because they have parented them and encouraged them and made them, educated them. These children don't want to do work in a corner shop or work in a takeaway. They want to do something else. They want to earn more money. They want more freedom, because these are bloody hard jobs, and they're very antisocial jobs as well. So a lot of them are now...
Dev's not an immigrant, because I think he was raised in Birmingham, wasn't he?
But this is happening.
Similar,
This is happening to children, to generations, and people are saying that it's a bit, yeah, it's just a bit, it's kind of a missed thing. Well, anyone who's been introduced to a family business is going to have to decide at some point, is this for me?
Yeah.
And I really find it weird that I don't think the character of Aadi ever had a revelation that he's actually not good at business. Because I think he's gone to India to help his uncle with his business.
He's gone to stay with Vikram, hasn't he, his cousin?
Yeah, but he's a businessman.
Or is it Dev's cousin? I don't know. I don't know what Vic's doing over there at the moment.
But it wasn't
fair.
he.
But I think the idea is that
previously.
He owned streetcars.
Yeah, exactly. He's an entrepreneur. So he's still not learned his life lesson, which is that he's not a businessman.
The question is then, were Aadi to return now, would we want him to come back as a successful businessman, or would we want him to come back having failed again?
It's funny because really, if I was writing Aadi's exit, I would have made him be influenced by Bernie to realise that he has more of a spiritual side, and maybe it would have made more sense to go to India to explore that, because even Bernie, you know, Aadi was saying, oh, I'll send you a box of crystals or something from India.
I don't know how many jobs. It's difficult because what jobs could he have done on the street? You know, he's not a physical labourer, is he? I wouldn't have been wanting to working for Gary at the builder's yard, or humping boxes for Carla. He's not gonna, you know. I can't see him as the Rover's landlord or working as a cellarman or what have you.
It really is manual labour. It is like, you know, either builder or shop owner or working in a shop, or it's business owner, and that's it on Corrie.
Or, you know, you got Adam who went down the lawyer route, and I don't particularly see that for Aadi as well. No. I don't know what his niche is, and it's because he's been funneled towards shops, business.
Even James, who was also a pro athlete like Aadi, has now had to pivot to do something else.
What is James doing?
Personal trainer.
Oh yeah. Well, still sport, isn't it?
With the old sexercise.
I don't know what Aadi would. What he would be ultimately good at. Maybe this is what he finds in India, and he comes back having found himself. And I'd like him to be a success. As much as I like Aadi kind of going, oh, I've screwed up again. What on earth can I do? Desperately backpedaling and to try and get out of these holes that he finds himself in. I'd like him to find a success. And I think that's why I was always, we haven't talked about this year particularly yet, we will get onto that. Why I was really desperately hoping that he would find true love with Amy or somebody, because there's success in that way. Yeah,
that's true.
I just wanted things to go right for him, you know? We all support an underdog in this country, don't we? Yeah. Anyway, so we mean, he
kind of reminds me of a bit of a less hopeless Dennis Tanner. Yeah. In that he's always trying, he's just hopeless at stuff.
Yeah, that's not a bad comparison. So anyway, I mean, mostly this year was Aadi's exit storyline, and it all kicks off with that fateful conversation in the cafe where he's talking about how much he loves spreadsheets and pivot tables, was it? And Bernie's like, you massive square, throw a party, you're still young, do something with your life. And he's like, yeah, you know what, I will. So he organises this midsummer party in June, kisses Amy at it, get in there, my son, but then sadly overhears her telling Asha that she didn't really feel anything from it, and he gets a bit upset by this, as you would, takes it to heart, and decides that, you know what, somebody's brought some drugs to this party. I had a bit of a go at them for bringing them, but what is my life now?
My drugs now.
Let's try it. This is him deciding that he's been going down this straight-laced route for the whole of his life, apart from Courtney, I suppose. Let's see whether psychedelic drugs can be my thing.
Maybe spreadsheets aren't everything.
But anyway, he doesn't even take them at the end, does he? He leaves his cup and Lauren takes it. She wasn't spiked. She just took somebody else's cup. Yes. It's her. I'm not going to say it's her fault, but it wasn't his. Well, maybe it was his fault.
Let's not go there because we can't.
Let's not go down.
We're not a jury.
But he wasn't the evil spiker that he was made out to be. But poor old Lauren, she ends up getting herself hospitalised when she doesn't realise.
That's because she falls all over the place.
Yeah. So anyway, he ends up massively guilty about this and just fawning over her, and before long she thinks he fancies her and the pair start dating, so it's a bit awkward. But also at the meantime, you got all the stuff that's going wrong at the shop. He's £6,000 in debt, so arranges for Brodie to fake the robbery of the corner shop tell the police that £6,000 was taken from the safe. Oh, that's what a coincidence. But Bernie finds out about it and keeps it a bit of a secret. She's trying to curry favour with Brody because she has just discovered that he's her grandson. It all gets a bit complicated, doesn't it? But anyway, the long and the short of it is Dev gets back from India, about to get married because his Auntie Rani has given him £25,000, and Bernie's like, look, let's just do this wedding on the cheap so that we can cream off £6,000 and Dev will never find out. But he did, and he finds out about the party first, and he's furious about that. And Aadi's like, there's no more secrets, honestly. But then when Dev finds out about the whole insurance scam on the day of his wedding, no less, he's absolutely furious at Aadi and has a massive go at him. And that really put a dampener on the wedding episode for me, didn't it? Because it's like, oh, it's supposed to be a nice day. He was
very horrible. He's like, you're pathetic.
Yeah, he was really vile to his son there. He really, really was. And then at the end of it, he's like, you're going off to India. You go and stay with Vikram. There's nothing more I can do for you. And Aadi's like, I don't want to go to India. But then after he gets arrested for the whole spiking thing and then let off, he just kind of very quickly decides, you know what, maybe a new life abroad is what I need. And after a little leaving party where he shares one more goodbye, we're just friends, kiss with Amy, he heads off in a taxi, and that's it for Aadi, to his new life in India. And let's hope he has a bit more success of things there. So,
maybe he's going to start a radio repair shop.
Maybe. Where'd you get that from?
I don't know. I was just trying to think of what jobs you can do, and it's businessman, shopkeeper, or radio repairman.
You had the whole thing with Kelly at the end where I don't blame him for trying to cover up what he did and just being extra nice to Kelly, but Lauren, sorry. So I say that they are very.
Well,
they're both the same kind of character, really, aren't they? How many times have I called?
I don't feel that you just started doing it.
I just started it now. I mean, Lauren. She says, "Oh, you've got this front as the Mr. Nice Guy Aadi, but actually you're just scum, just like all the others." And even Amy kind of goes along with it for a little bit. But
she was projecting.
Yeah, and he calls her needy. But I will stick with what I said on the podcast, that I think he was very flustered. He didn't know what he was saying. He'd been confronted by this very angry, tracksuited young lady, and he just says it. And I think that he's trying to cover up like he would, and it just ended up spiralling for him. And I think that's perfectly within character for Aadi, for him to get up to his neck in something without really meaning to. So I have got no ill will towards him, and I've seen some people online saying that he was turned into a bit of a villain before his exit, and I wouldn't say that.
No,
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think he was misunderstood. He made mistakes. He didn't do a great job of remedying them, but he's apologised as best he could, and he's moved on.
I think it was a decent exit story. There's always got to be, you've got to come up with some story.
There's conflict.
Like, why would this character leave Weatherfield when he got really no reason to? And I think they did an okay job of giving him a reason to go. He couldn't have Kelly come back and take him off and disappear off into the night with him. And I was just really glad that the fallout that he had with his family was healed by the time he left. And they've parted on good terms, haven't they?
Yeah.
And I do hope to see him again. I wonder whether, I don't know where this Asha story's going at the moment with her breakdown and I can't be a paramedic, it's too hard. And I wonder whether she's going to be really missing Aadi there. Because you had that lovely scene on the episode a couple of weeks ago where she's leaving the message on the answer phone saying, I can't cope, I need you here. And I think that she's going to have to keep it to herself, because I think Aadi probably would come back if he knew just what trauma she was going through.
It's also really hard with the age difference, the time difference, like to get support from somebody who lives in a different time zone to you. Yeah.
So maybe the fact that they can't have him come back to support her means that she's going to be suffering in silence.
Maybe that's why they sent him to India.
Why?
so that he couldn't, so that we're not going, why doesn't Aadi just come back and help Asha?
I suppose it is a bit of a trek, isn't it?
It's far, especially if you walk.
Well, Aadi's departure was reported / leaked in The Sun on the 11th of April this year, yeah. And Adam later that day took to Instagram to confirm it, saying, I guess the secret's out now. As some of you have heard, I'll be leaving Coronation Street for new pastures. Over the 5 years I've spent there, I've learned so much about the world and the industry and now feel I'm ready to spread my wings a little. So it sounds like it was a decision that he made to leave, which is kind of always what you want to hear, at least, even though it may be very sad to hear it. And as he's recently, when he left, said, these past 5 years have been educational and such an experience. I've made friends that'll last a lifetime, and I've grown not just as an actor, but as a person as well. But I want to say it's not goodbye forever, more like see you later. And if you want to keep watching me, then I'll be around in other stuff. So keep your eyes peeled.
And also, I think that, it's been said that the door is open for him to return.
Yes, yeah, quite. I think it would be crazy to not entertain the idea of him coming back, because he is a liked character. He's got very strong links on the street. I think he'd be able to slot back in very easily. But, I said the same about Rosie and Sophie when they left, and people are gagging for them both to come back now, and they still haven't. So I hope that Corrie is not just saying it, and we'll have him back if he wants to come back. But I don't know.
Maybe he don't
Kate
want
Brooks
to.
can say what she wants, because she's probably not going to be in charge once Adam decides to come back. Should he decide to come back?
Maybe he's going to go off and do something.
I'm really interested
like
to see what he does do, because I know he's been doing. He did the short film Spice of Life recently, which we spoke about on the podcast, and I think he's got a few other little projects like that in the works. I think that I'd really like to see him go the way of someone like Jack James Ryan, who played Jacob, because we've seen him. Well, we haven't seen him, but I know that he's appeared in various other things. He's in something or other this week, isn't he? And I'd hope that Adam's time in Corrie has helped him get that springboard for other projects. Whether I don't know whether he was interested in doing stage stuff, to be honest. I'm not sure. But yeah, I certainly wouldn't. You get some people that leave a soap and then people look down on them for being a soap actor. But I don't think with Adam we'll get that. I think he is a real talent. I think he's clearly a good actor. And I think, there's an awful lot in his show reel now, thanks to his short 5 years at Corrie, that should hopefully help him get a leg up and get some other big projects. Yeah. But hopefully not for too long, eh?
Watch him in Spice of Life. It's on YouTube.
It is good. Yeah. I want to see him come back. I don't want him to be recast again. He's one of my all-time best Corrie recasts. You've had some good ones over the years. Sometimes the recast happens as like, whatever, they're played by someone else. I'm not
fussed.
I'm not fussed. It'll do. But he is 100% there towards the top of my list of Corrie recasts. Like, that was genius. You got a good one there. He breathed new life into the character that was a bit of a nothing of a character beforehand. Again, sorry Zenon, but they just didn't give him stuff to do. And he went from turning a lot of people into, as I say, being ambivalent towards Aadi to really, really loving him and being sad that he was yet another loss to Coronation Street in 2025. So good luck to him in the future, but I do hope we get to see him again.
Me too. I really like that character.
So anyway, that's Aadi. That's his 20 odd years on the street, and a little bit more detail in the last 5 since he's been played by Adam Hussein. Love him. Really, really a character that I've got a lot of time for. So I hope you enjoyed going down this little memory lane, learning new things maybe, like Dev's already dated somebody called Bernie.
That's my main fact.
that's Gemma's main takeaway, is something that's nothing to do with Aadi. But I'm glad you've learned something from this, Gemma. Write in and tell us your thoughts about Aadi, especially if you like him.
Okay.
What would you like to see him do next? And what would you, if you were to return to the street, what would he do? What would his job be?
Yeah.
That's my question for the week, listeners. What can he do? What can he do?
That's the other job if you go to India. Businessman, shopkeeper, yoga instructor, radio repairman. That's not a stereotype.
It's not, you're right. Should Amy wait for him? Is Amy going to struggle to find another boyfriend because she's secretly thinking, kind of do fancy Aadi actually. I hadn't let him slip through my fingers.
It's really going to be difficult on the dating scene if you're running a feminist radio
Do you reckon?
show.
Is she in for a hard time there?
Yeah.
Right, anyway, we're going to go now. Thank you everybody for listening. We'll be back later this week with our normal podcast where we'll talk about all of our thoughts about what's been going on in Coronation Street this week. But until then, goodbye from me.
Bye.
Goodbye. Ta-ra!